Welcome to part 7, the final part in this series of the pieces that I'm making. These are Catan pieces to replicate cities in the board game Settlers of Catan. And I am now using a 45-degree end mill. I'm taking out the half-inch end mill out of the collet. And it pops right out with a satisfying noise. And the 45-degree end mill will go right in there. And that flat, I'm going to want the set screw to tighten up on the flat, not on the round part of the end mill, but right on the flat. That will hold it in the best, keep it from spinning in the collets, and then we won't have any issues. So with the 45-degree end mill, you can go at a similar speed as a half-inch end mill. I'll keep it around 360 or so. And just with any material that you're working with, you may have to go speed it up higher or slower RPM, and then the rate at which you feed it will of course have to change. Being that this machine, I have to do everything manually, I have to just feel it as I crank the handle by hand. And update on that handle, the handle part of the handle actually broke off, if that makes sense. I'll try to have a video on that in the future if I can figure out a good fix for it. So many times cranking on it, either by me and my coworkers, to actually do stuff on the mill here, usually cutting keyways and shafts, pump shafts, fan shafts. But using the 45-degree end mill, I'm going to start out with just a light cut, which I did, about 10-20 thousandths, and I started taking 50 thousandths cuts at a time, but going real slow, not too fast, because aluminum gums up. And this is the only 45-degree end mill in the entire shop. So that is why I'm being extra careful with it. And I'm making sure I'm feeding the right way. No climb cutting to be found in this video. And whatever I take off from the one side, I will calculate it, keep a mental note, and I will take off the same amount on the other side as I aim to take off the both equal amounts off of each side of my top part of my city piece. That way, the peak of the shape that I'm getting, the peak of the top of the city, can be in the middle of that piece. And then it can look good, presentable, and be a nice finished product. You know, you work on a piece for so many hours, you want it to turn out just right. You don't want to mess up one step, especially a step that's going to be a part of the finished part of the product, finished part of the piece. And now here I switch to the other side. I'm now cranking the table towards me, towards the end mill, so that I don't climb cut. And this is part 7. If you have any questions, you let me know down in the comments below. We'll get into the rest of this video. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this series thus far. If you have any things you need to correct me on, please do so in the comments, and I will verify that what you're saying is correct, and I can update it like I did update part 2 title from fly cutter to insert shell mill. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you with many more videos, hopefully, accurate machining videos to come. And that piece is looking nice. Look at all these aluminum chips on the ground. Can't pick those up with a magnet. All right, let's get on with the video. All 4 pieces have been milled out with the 45-degree end mill on the top section. Now, we're getting into the final stretches of this project. So, like I said in the previous video, I have my brass hex, and that's going to be attached to the bottom somehow. And I finally figured out how I'm going to do it. So the area that I messed up on, I can save it. I'm just going to take that 3/16 end mill through this section that I messed up on. And then what I'll do is I'll check this up in the lathe, bore through the center, and I'll take another piece of brass rod here and I'll machine it down to the size of the hole that I bore through, so that it'll press fit into there, but some of this brass piece will still stick out. And once it's pressed into there, I can grab this in the vise in the milling machine, and then the piece of this that's sticking out from the hex, I can mill it into a square, and I can have it sit in this square slot that I will have machined out on the aluminum city piece. So let's get it. First we'll take the center out, tailstock.
we can put the drill truck in. And the drill truck has 2 flats, so on the inside of the tail slide it has to meet up with that section there. You gotta slam it in. It's on it, secured by a taper. We put our center drill in. This chuck key, a little worn out. Crank it back so I can reach that bottom slot. Okay. And since our piece has a little tab or tit on the front, I'll just flip it around and bore through the backside, so I don't have to worry about my center drill getting broken on this little piece right here. Perfect. On the material in the chuck, got our center hole drill. Next I'll load up my 15 32 drill bit. That's 469 thousandths AO. And that way the round brass piece that'll press into this hex piece, I won't have to machine it down nearly as much. Just trying to work smarter, not harder. Okay, let's bring this guy in. Let's see how it does on 315 RPM. With this big of a drill bit, I'm not going through that much material. The chips are looking good. Chips are looking real good, actually. Nice. When you have chips looking like this, you're definitely on the right track. Look at that. Flip the material around in the chuck. Drew in there. And already down to the thickness I wanted, but the other one I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I'm just starting with a whole block of it, so what I'll do is I'll load it up. And then I'll just drill through most of it, because I need to get 3 more pieces out of it, so I'll drill through far enough. That way I can just, once it's through far enough with the 15 32 drill bit, then I can just cut at the thickness I need, but I'll have to cut a little bit extra so I can face, because this side's faced, but I can face the other side of it. And then, but then for the next piece, I'll have to face that before I cut it off. But as long as I have my drill hole through all 3, then that'll be easier. So I could use the part off tool, but that would just take a lot of time. And around here, I've been known to break off, well, at the old shop, I've been known to break off one or a couple part off tools, so gotta be careful with those. So as I go in with any drill or center drill, I always back off, you know, part way through here and there, just so the chips have somewhere to escape. So they don't just build up on the tool and I don't have to worry about it breaking. And this time I won't jump up directly to 15-30 seconds. I'll start with a smaller drill all the way through, then step up to 15-30 seconds. So I put a little Sharpie mark in my drill bit. That's how far I know to go in, so I know I went in far enough. And now we'll kick it down to low RPM to see if the countersink does any better, because it was leaving a slight burr on the other piece. At 315 RPM. And that looks a lot better.
Okay, that's it. The project's done. I have the pieces in this box because this will be in transport. I will be in transport to Houston. And wait a minute, what could this be? Is this also coming with me? Huh. You don't... What? Come on. Is this guy always up to something? Oh, we got something else going on.